Welcome back to another episode of Mr. J's Workshop. Today, I'm going to show you how I made these carbon fiber overlays, engraved them, and color filled them. My friend Rod out in California sent me these overlays. He's redoing a 1979 Beach Sierra 200 C-24R. That's the model of the aircraft. He's doing a total makeover of this plane, including the interior and panel. So anytime I get a job like this, I cringe a little bit because the aircraft is not here. And why I cringe because the aircraft's not here, it is replicating a panel that I can't that I can't test to see if everything's going to fit after I get done making a new one. So the way I handle this, drawing this out to get started, is I always establish an origin. And in this case, I'm going to establish the origin on the bottom left corner of the panel. So we'll make that XY0. That'll be my origin or reference point for all my measurements. One of the most important things you must do when you're trying to replicate something is establish some good habits. And a good habit is that you always measure all your measurements from the origin. And what I mean by that is you don't want to establish one hole and then from that hole you move to the next hole, and from that hole you measure in the next hole, from that hole you measure the next hole, and from that hole you measure the next hole, so forth down the line. That's not a good habit to get into, because what happens is your error in dimensions increase as you do that. So a good habit is always measure from your reference point or your origin for each location. And that will prevent any errors that may accumulate. It's always a good habit. So I'm drawing this up in Corel, and once I complete the drawing, I'm going to get some poster board. You can pick up poster board at a craft shop, Walmart. I'm drawing blanks at Amazon, so there's many places you could get poster board. And I'm going to laser cut the poster board to see how well I did with my drawing. And what I also did for this job is I 3D printed some plugs to fit snugly in the existing panel or overlay. Now I'm going to take my poster board and I'm going to put it on top over those plugs to see if everything lines up correctly. And usually it's pretty close. Occasionally you're going to be off a little bit, but now you just make adjustments, print out another, cut out another poster board template, put it on there and see how it looks until you get it right. Now that you have a drawing that is correct and everything is labeled correctly, now we could fabricate the panel. In this case, this panel was a little bit outside of what I'm able to do here in the shop for carbon fiber. So I decided to job this out. Now, there's really three common ways you can machine carbon fiber panels. One is like a CNC milling machine or a regular milling machine. The second is a CNC router. And the third is water jet. It just happens that there's a gentleman near me that has a water jet machine. So I took my panel to him. I sent him the files. We sat down and we talked and we discussed over how we're going to do this. A really, really friendly guy. It's rare that you can sit down with a fabricator and talk about the machining process or the fabrication process. Real great guy. Great guy. So, came back to the shop here and started getting ready to do the engraving for when I get the panel back. And then I got a call by the end of the day, and my water jet guy ran into problems. I'm thinking, oh boy, it's never a good thing. So the problem was when the water jet pierced. Water jet is a high pressure water, and it's mixed with abrasive material. When it strikes the top surface, in this case, what happened, because it's fiber, the material is fiber, even though it's carbon fiber, it's still fiber. When it started piercing through this material is 3 millimeters thick, is roughly about 1/8 thick. It actually delaminated the fibers. And I got an example here. So if you look closely in this area here, you'll see where it became delaminated. And what he did, he tried to glue it back on, but it's still not acceptable. It just doesn't look good. So I went out, bought some more carbon fiber, and this time around with the water jet guy, he actually drilled pilot holes, and what that is actually just drilling holes where the water jet is going to pierce, and that way there's no pressure, and the water jet could just go into its cutting mode. And that came out really gorgeous, as you see here. Next step is prepping the job for engraving. So I cleaned the surface with alcohol, dried it off. I had this vinyl stencil paper that I've been very pleased with, and I bounce off between this material and painter's tape. I still use the painter's tape. I think I mostly use it on wood, but it all depends how I'm feeling the day. But on big jobs, I use this vinyl stencil paper, and it works really well. Now I got the job ready for engraving. What I want to do before I actually start this, I want to actually test doing a laser power speed chart. And what that is it's just a little graph that I take a piece of material and I run it through different power settings, different speed settings to create this graph to find what is the best setting that works for engraving carbon fiber. I've come across carbon fiber, they all engrave different. So right away I do a power and speed chart just to make sure it works for that particular carbon fiber material. Once I got my number, I know roughly the power setting. The first pass always cuts through the stencil paper or the blue painter's tape. The first pass. So what that means is that your actual part underneath the tape or the stencil paper may not have received the engraving. So then I'll run a second pass with the same power and speed settings, and then we'll take a look. We'll see how it came out. If it's steep enough, it looks like it'll hold some paint, then we'll take it out. We'll airbrush it. I'm using this white wicked paint, and I usually put 3 coats of paint on it. After after a half hour to an hour, I'll peel off the stencil paper and then let it cure overnight. The next day I'll come in and finish weeding out all the little areas that still have stencil paper or painter's tape still on the lettering. And then we clean it out and we'll just ship it out. Now, funny thing about this job is it came out beautiful, as you see here. Customer loved it when he got it. And then I get a call that he said it didn't work out. The material's too thick. You know, with 3 millimeters is roughly 1/8, and it was just too thick to be used as an overlay. So we went through this whole process again, remaking this with 1 millimeter carbon fiber material. 1 millimeter is about 40 thousandths, which is just under a 16th. So we went through this whole process, but still with the same results. It just came out great. And that was it. So if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.